Today, I'm going to discuss 5 ways for entrepreneurs to get emergency funding during this coronavirus pandemic. So, if you would, please come into the podcast, say your name, say where you are from, and we will get started shortly. Please remember to like. If you have any questions, put it in the chat box and make sure that you share with others. So, again, my name is Latoya with Excel Capital Group. And I am going to be going over the 5 ways entrepreneurs can get emergency funding during this coronavirus pandemic. So, welcome in. Make sure that you join us and follow us on social media. So, Excel Capital Group, we are on Facebook and we are on Instagram. So, if you want to get tips on funding, if you are a new entrepreneur or an existing entrepreneur and you are seeking funding for your business to start it, to grow and scale it, make sure you join us on social media. All right, and we're going to get started here shortly. So I'll wait a few more minutes for more people to come in. So just make sure that you like the posts. If you have any comments, make sure you put it in the chat box and make sure that you share this with others. So we're going to get started in just a few moments. Okay, we'll give people a few more minutes to join us. So again, I'm going to be discussing the 5 ways entrepreneurs get emergency funding during this corona pandemic. And we are going to get started here shortly. I'll give people a couple more minutes and then we will go ahead and get started. So again, just put in your name in the chat box, where you're from. And if you have any comments, make sure that you type it in the chat box and make sure that you share this with others. It's valuable information that can get you funding during this time. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everyone to this live Lunch and Learn broadcast. And we're going to be talking about the 5 different ways that entrepreneurs can get funding for their business. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen here. One second. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to talk about the 5 ways that entrepreneurs can get emergency funding during this coronavirus. All right, so I just want to introduce myself. My name is Latoya Jackson. I am the founder and CEO of Excel Capital Group. My company helps provide business credit and funding solutions for entrepreneurs looking for funding. So whether you are a brand new entrepreneur, you have a startup business, or whether you are an established entrepreneur and you're looking for funding, reach out and give us a call. You can get up to $250,000 within 15 days. So if you want to reach out to us, you can call us 312-668-8788. You can email us. If you want a free funding consultation, you can go to fundingwithexcel.com. And remember to follow us on social media if you want tips on how to get funding for your business. And we will be here live every Friday at 12 p.m. Just also want to let you know that I'm going to be starting a class on building business credit. That's going to be launching soon. If you want more information, make sure you join this bit.ly link. You can just join your email address and you will get more details when that class launches. And that is bit.ly Excel Business Class. All right, so let's get into our topics. So today we're going to talk about the coronavirus, how it's affecting the country, the world, and how it's affecting business. We're going to talk about the 5 different types of emergency funding that you can get. So there are SBA loans available, disaster SBA loans available. There are other state loans that are available. There are grants that businesses can qualify for and get funding for. And there's also business credit and other funding options available. So I will be discussing all of that. Okay, so let's talk about this coronavirus and this pandemic. So this is an overview of the situation. So as you can see here in Illinois, here in my second home, there have been 422 cases, 4 deaths, and 2 people have recovered. In terms of the United States overall, there's 14,387 cases with a total of 217 deaths. 125 people have recovered. And then globally, 254,000 cases with over 10,000 deaths and 88,000 have recovered. So this is a pretty serious pandemic. So let's just kind of talk about this. So we showed you the numbers, but let's talk about how it's affecting our everyday lives. So this is an epidemic that is very different from 9/11. It's very different from the housing market situation that happened in 2008. We have states that are ordering people to stay home. We have schools that are closing. We have events and trade shows that are canceled. We have professional sports organizations canceling their events. We have businesses that's been ordered to shut down in some states. Back in my hometown, Ohio, just yesterday, nail salons, beauty salons, and tattoo parlors all had to close down by yesterday evening. Or you're like the restaurant business where people can no longer dine in. You can only serve people through the drive-through or through pickup. And so businesses are severely impacted. We have people being laid off. So even with all of this going on, you still have entrepreneurs who have expenses, right? They still have to pay rent. They may still have to pay payroll. There's operating expenses. And so sometimes entrepreneurs are now looking to tap into their 401k or their IRA or their personal credit cards to kind of cover these expenses during this pandemic. And I want to challenge you to not do that, or to do that as a last resort. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in detail a little bit later on. But entrepreneurs need access to capital. But the one thing I want to mention is that this has taught us that we need to have certain things in place. So if you're a business owner, you want to make sure you have business insurance so that in the event of natural disasters or situations like this, you can be covered. We know that we need multiple accesses to capital. So if you were owned a hair salon and you are a beautician and your only source of income is, having clients, and your business gets shut down, what do you do from here? So we've learned that we need additional sources of income and we need more capital to stay afloat. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit of detail. If you have any questions or concerns, please type it in the chat box and I will gladly answer those. So we're going to talk about 5 options as to what entrepreneurs can do to get funding during this time. So the first option we have is an SBA disaster loan. This is something that the President Trump has push forward. This is the SBA Disaster Loan Assistance. So this is a loan for businesses, for private nonprofits, for homeowners, and for renters. So just want to share some information with you. So this is a type of loan that can be used to repair or replace items that have been damaged or destroyed by a disaster. Now, this is a different type of disaster. This isn't a flood. This isn't a tornado or anything like that. But in that event, you still can use this loan for real estate, personal property, machinery, equipment, or different things like that. Or if your business has been shut down as a result of this, you could qualify for this as well. So if you're interested in this is the website that you can go to apply. You can apply online, in person, or by mail. But just to give you a little bit more information on this disaster loan by the SBA, any business of any size, okay, you can borrow up to $2 million for physical damage. All right. So whether you are a small agricultural business, private nonprofit sector, you still qualify to borrow up to $2 million for economic injury. Okay. So it's physical damage, but also economic injury. And that's more for this situation that we're in right now. So economic injury, that's the inability of the business to meet its obligations as they mature, not being able to pay your ordinary or necessary operating expense due to this situation. Okay, so you'd be able to qualify for economic injury. So basically, you can apply for the maximum amount of $2 million. You have homeowners that can borrow up to $200,000 if they had situations that were affected by this. Renters can borrow up to $40,000 if they need to replace or repair damaged personal property. Again, in this coronavirus situation, most businesses will be applying for economic injury. because they could not continue to meet their obligations to pay expenses. So again, if you have any questions or concerns, please put them in the chat box and I will be more than happy to help you. If you have any comments. All right. So just put that in the chat box. So hey, Takesha, thanks for joining. Thanks, Tim. Thank you, Jenny. Hey, Veronica, thanks for joining. Thank you all for joining. If you have any questions about any of the information that I'm going over, please let me know. Please like this information. Please share it with others. It could definitely help business owners get access to capital. So again, with the SBA loan, you just have to have a business that's located in the U.S. It has to be for profit. Typically, with a normal SBA loan, you have to invest your own time and money into your business and have exhausted all of your other financial options. So they have the standard SA loan, where you can qualify for up to $350,000 for an SA loan. They also have SBA Express, and you could typically get a decision within 36 hours. Now, I know a typical SBA loan is not easy to apply for. It's definitely a lengthier process than a typical loan, but my team can help you. So if you're interested in the SBA other options, you can contact my office and we can help you with that. Now, if you want the disaster loan, you have to go directly to an SBA. You can't work with a bank or a lender or anything like that. You have to go directly to their website and fill out the information. So in terms of the other loans that they offer outside of the disaster loans, the maximum amount that you can get is $5 million. They typically look for a credit score of 700, but they will go down in the 600s if necessary. Typically, collateral is not required if you need a loan for under $25,000, but if you need one between $25,000 and $350,000, there typically is some sort of collateral that is a part of that loan. So there are businesses that are prohibited. So gambling, medical marijuana, those type of activities are not eligible at this time. But as I mentioned before, the SBA loan is a much lengthier process. So if you need help with that, my team can help you. So if that's something you're interested in, you need a 670 score, have to be in business within 2 years, business revenue of at least $250,000 a year or more for the last 2 years, and you will need bank statements to get started. If that is a product that you are interested in, you can go to fundingwithexcel.com to schedule a free consultation so that we can help you with that, or you can call our office. Okay, so that was the first set of funding that is available. So are there any questions so far? So again, the first set of funding for entrepreneurs during this time is an SBA disaster loan. All right, so I just wanted to go over some of the requirements for that. If your business has been impacted by the coronavirus, you can definitely take advantage of that. Can you guys see my screen? Are you guys able to see my screen? Let me know if you can. Okay, let me know. If you can't see my screen, let me know. But the next set of funding is state programs. So the mayor of Chicago just announced yesterday a resiliency loan. Okay, let me see if I can get it to share. One moment. Okay, you can see me, but you can't see the screen. Okay, let me hop out of here and see if I can screen share one more time. Okay. It shows on my screen that it is sharing, but it looks like it's still not showing up on your end. One second. Give me one moment. I'm going to try to see if I can share with you. If not, we'll just keep going. There we go. Can you see it now? On my screen, it looks like I am sharing. Just want to see if you guys can see it. There we go. Okay. I was not sure that you could not see it. Okay, now you guys can see it. All right, we'll keep going. So for those of you who missed it, we started off by talking about the 5 ways that entrepreneurs could get funding. Okay, so you're seeing my screen, but it's not turning the page. Okay, we're going to keep going. So we talked about the coronavirus and numbers. We talked about the SBA disaster loan and what the requirements are to get that type of product. So now we're going into the state programs. Okay, so I see on the screen it's a little bit delayed. But if you have questions, let me know. I'm going to keep going. So the first product that we discussed in terms of getting funding is the SBA disaster loan. We talked about the requirements for that loan. And now we're talking about the second option for funding, which is state programs. So here in Chicago, the mayor just announced the resiliency loan. It's a $100 million target. It's a low interest loan to help businesses that have been impacted by the coronavirus. So it's designed to help generate cash flow for much needed businesses. So it is a private and a public partnerships, and there are a lot of organizations that contributed to this. So you have 50 million that came from the Community Catalyst Fund. You had another 25 million from the city of Chicago. You had 10 million from Goldman Sachs, 1 million from Fifth Third, and 250,000 from Bob Clark Construction. They are asking more businesses to contribute, but this is a way for businesses to stay afloat, to be able to make payroll, avoid layoffs, and help people in extreme circumstances. So here are the requirements for the state program. They're going to begin taking applications on March 31st. And in order for you to be eligible, you have to attest to the fact that you lost at least 25% of your revenue due to this coronavirus. So if you lost at least 25% of your revenue due to this, you would be eligible to qualify. You have to employ fewer than 50 employees, and you have to have gross revenues of less than 3 million in 2019. So businesses will have to provide bank statements back to October 2019 in their most recent tax return in order to take advantage of this. So just think about it. I know back home in Ohio, we just had hair salons, beauty salons, nail salons, and tattoo parlors had to shut their doors immediately as of yesterday, right? So check to see if your business is eligible. So this is an option here in Chicago, Illinois. If you're interested, you can go on this link here, and beginning March 31st, you would be able to submit your application for this. This page goes in a little bit more detail of what the qualifications are for this loan that is available for businesses in Illinois. But you will be able to get more information and apply by the end of the month. So any questions so far about the SBA disaster loan, the other SBA loans, or this new loan option for small businesses here in Chicago? All right. If not, we're going to talk about other states. You know, as this pandemic continues, you're going to have states come up with options to help save businesses and to help save jobs. So this is the one that I found for Wisconsin. Businesses can get up to $20,000 in grants through the coronavirus. So it's called a Small Business 2020. You can get up to $20,000 per business. You have to employ at least 20 employees or less to cover rent and meet payroll expenses. That also includes if you're covering for sick time or family or other types of leave as a result of the virus. So this grant was created through a partnership of 23 financial institutions. And in order to be eligible for that, you must have already had a loan through these institutions and be in good standing. Now, this is for small businesses in Wisconsin. So what I would do is encourage you to look and see if there are any small business programs in your state. As we continue to deal with this crisis, more states will come up with programs to help small businesses. Some of them are in the early stages of doing that. So continue to be on the lookout for the funding that you may be eligible for in your state. So any questions or concerns so far about the SBA loans or the state loans that we discussed? If not, we will get into grants. So I'm not sure if you all saw this, but Facebook has announced a grant, $100 million grant program for small businesses that are impacted by the coronavirus. And right now there's very little information about it, but the companies that are eligible. So Facebook is offering $100 million in cash grants. It's for 30,000 eligible businesses in over 30 countries. So this is worldwide. And so they're going to be sharing more details about it in the coming weeks. So if you are interested in this Facebook grant, I would encourage you to go to this web link. You can Google Facebook grant. This page will come up and you can put your email address on there. And once more information is available, you can apply for a Facebook business grant. Has anybody heard of this grant before? No? Okay. Well, if you have any questions or concerns about anything that we discussed, just make sure you put it in the chat box. So next, we're going to talk about an Amber Grant, and this is particularly for women. This is a company that specializes in helping women entrepreneurs. They give away $4,000 a month to one lucky female entrepreneur. And at the end of the year, you can be entered into a chance to win a $25,000 grant. What I like about this grant is there are only 2 questions. They're pretty much going to ask you, tell us about the business and what do you need the funding for? What would you use it for? And basically you submit your application and each month they choose a winner. And out of the 12 monthly winners, they pick one winner to win $25,000 at the end of the year. So this is something that doesn't require your credit report, your tax returns, a business plan, any of that. So that is another option if you are interested in another grant. Hi, Tamara. Thanks for joining. Hi, Brent. Hey, Jenny. Hey, BB. Thanks for joining. So that is the first 3 options. So far we talked about the SBA disaster loan, what the requirements are for that. We also talked about programs that's available in various states for small businesses. And we also talked about grants that are available. So now we're going to talk about business credit. So remember when I first started, I told you about businesses, being affected by this virus, and they are tapping into their personal credit cards. And I would highly encourage you not to do that. You have some businesses that have been shut down or has been affected. Maybe you had an event planning company. Maybe you had a bunch of speaking engagements. Maybe you had a restaurant. All of those things have been canceled, right? So you still have expenses. So what can you do? Now, some business owners are going to rely on their personal credit cards to get them through this time because you still have expenses. You still got rent. You still may have other things that you have to pay for, even though you're not getting the sales like you used to. I would highly encourage you not to max out your personal credit cards during this crisis because you got 2 types of entrepreneurs in this situation. You got the entrepreneurs that's going to say, hey, I need some more capital. Let me take this opportunity to get access to that. And then you'll have other entrepreneurs who are going to say, I don't need access to capital. I'm going to rely on my personal credit cards. And here is why I encourage you not to do that. One, when you get your personal credit cards and you use them to pay off your bills and you end up maxing out those cards, your utilization is now above 30%. And by the time the crisis is over, you're going to be maxed out, your utilization is high, and you're not going to be able to get access to capital then. So I would highly encourage you not to max out personal credit cards. What I would encourage you to do is get business credit, because when you get business credit and you max out business credit, it's not going to affect you the same way that it would on a personal credit card. So let's talk about business credit. Business credit is credit that comes in the form of the business and is separate from the company. So there's 2 ways to get business credit. So the first way is to get it using your social security number, right? If you have a 700 credit score across all 3 credit bureaus and you have a strong credit profile, and what I mean by strong credit profile, meaning you've had no bankruptcies, foreclosures, liens, judgments, or collections, or it's been 3 years since that's happened and you've had everything in good standing since then you can apply for business credit cards. What I love about business credit cards is you typically get 0% interest anywhere from 6 to 12 months. It's unsecured. You do not have to submit a business plan or anything like that. You can have a day-old business and qualify for business funding. If you decide tomorrow you want to set up an LLC and you meet these requirements, you can get up to $250K in 15 days if you meet those qualifications. You do not have to be in business 2 years and submit a business plan to get business credit cards. When you get these business credit cards, they report to the business credit bureaus. And again, if you're maxing out your business credit cards, they're not going to have that same impact as if you would on the personal side. Lenders understand that businesses need more access to capital than individuals, right? Whatever you qualify on the personal side, you normally get 3 to 5 times on the business side. They understand you need access to more capital. They understand that you need this funding, whether you need to, do payroll, expand, pay for marketing, pay for equipment, whatever it is, they understand that. So when you maximize business credit cards, it's not going to negatively impact you like it would on the personal side. So this is one option that I would highly encourage people to do instead of maxing out your personal credit cards. So if you guys have any questions, please put it in the chat box. Hi, Rachel. Thanks for joining. So that's one way that you can get business credit. Okay. Another way that you can get business credit is a business line of credit. And this is more for your established entrepreneurs. So when I mean established, I mean an entrepreneur who's been in business for over 2 years. They have at least a 670 credit score. They're doing revenues of over $250K per year or more for the last 2 years. You can get a business checkbook line of credit. This is not a credit card like the first one. The first one we went over is business credit cards. The second one is business checkbook line of credit. You can get up to $250,000 for that. So if you are interested in business credit cards or a business checkbook line of credit, you can reach out to my team. We can help you out. We can get you funding in just 2 weeks. So any questions so far about the business credit options that you can get utilizing your SSN? Okay. If not, now we're going to talk about building business credit without your social security number. Okay. Building business credit without your social security number. So remember, I just told you that there are 2 ways to build business credit. There's one way that you can do it with your personal credit score. If you have a credit score of 700 or more or higher across all 3 bureaus with a strong credit profile, then you can qualify for business credit cards. If you do not have that, that is fine. You can build business credit within your corporation without it being tied to your social. What I love about this process is that it doesn't matter what happened to you on the personal side, right? Maybe personally you had to file a bankruptcy. Maybe you had a sickness that, impacted your credit. Maybe you went through a divorce. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe you lost, maybe your business wasn't successful, right? Maybe some things happen on the personal side where the personal credit isn't where you need it to be at. That's fine. Anybody can build business credit within their corporation without it being attached to their social security number. So it doesn't matter if you got a high score or a low score. I would encourage everybody to do this. So what is the difference between business credit and personal credit? Business credit is basically completely separate from personal. It also allows you to build credit within your corporation that you don't need your credit score or your credit profile to qualify for. So what you're doing is you're creating vendor accounts. You guys familiar with vendor accounts, net 30 accounts? You have suppliers that will basically give you a line of credit to purchase things from them, and you have 30 days to pay it. And those are called trade lines. You need at least 3 or 4 of them to get a business credit score, which is called a paydex score. And once you get to an 80 paydex score, then you can qualify for business credit cards in your company name that is not tied to your social. Now, this is a process. This is not something that happens overnight. It can go anywhere from 4 to 6 months on the short end. Or it may take you a little longer, which you're basically building business credit with vendor accounts. You need at least 3 or 4 of those accounts in order for you to get a paydex score. And then after that, you need more trade lines in order to get an 80 paydex score, which is equivalent to a 700 score on the personal side. So on the personal side, credit scores go from 300 to 850. On the business side, credit scores go from 1 to 100, and 80 is where you want to be. So I know that is a lot of information that I shared in a short amount of time, but I'm actually going to be launching a class May 1st called Building Business Credit. I'm going to show you step by step how you build it within your corporation. It doesn't matter what your social security number is. It doesn't matter. It's not tied to you individually. If you are interested in learning how to build business credit in your corporation without it being attached to your social, make sure you join my email list. So you can go on Bitly and you can go to Excel Business Class, and you will get more information when that class launches. So I see we had a couple more people join. Hey, Jerry, thanks for joining. Hi, John. Thank you for joining. Did you guys have any questions about anything that we have covered so far? So I know we just got a couple people to join, but just as a recap, we talked about the coronavirus and its impact on the world. We looked at the cases and we talked about how it's affecting businesses and how businesses still have to function. They still have expenses, whether we are going through this crisis or not. So we talked about the SBA disaster loan. We talked about loan programs that's available for small businesses in your state. We also talked about grants that you can apply for. We just talked about business credit, how to get it with your social security number if you have a 700 score or higher. And we also talked about business credit when you're building it in your corporation with your EIN and is not tied to your social. So again, I'm going to be launching a class on how to build business credit. I'm going to show you, what is a paydex score, how to understand your business credit reports, understanding the score, working with you to get trade lines, and helping you get that 80 paydex score so you can have access to more capital. Okay, we need capital in times like this. All right, so again, if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know. Make sure you share this out with others. I'm sure there are some business owners that need access to capital, and this information can be very valuable to them. So let's talk about other options before we end here. So we do have a personal term loan option. Again, I'm telling you not to use personal credit cards in this time of need. Creditors do not want to see people living off personal credit cards. So if you can avoid it, please look into these other options, okay? So you could do a personal term loan. This, again, you could qualify for up to $250K. That is $250,000 liquid in your bank account within 2 weeks. The term is 3, 5, or 7 years in order to pay that back. Now, the requirement for this is at least a 680 credit score or higher across all 3 credit bureaus, or you make at least $50,000 a year or more gross for the past 2 years and also have a strong credit profile. So this is for someone that is looking for, some liquidity, and you can use this for anything. You can use this for personal expenses. You can use this for that new business you want to launch, or you can use it if you're already established in business. The lenders that I work with, you can use these funds for however you wish. Okay. So any questions about a term loan before we go into our last couple of options here and we recap? So the next set of options that are available are working capital loans. So if you are a company, maybe you are a hair salon, maybe you are a makeup artist, maybe you have a retail store, right? Maybe you accept payments via Square, or you accept payments via PayPal, and they have working capital loans. And I've had a few of these. So working capital loans work great because it's not based on your personal credit. It's based on the transactions that occur through PayPal. So if your clients are paying you with PayPal or with Square, you could qualify for a working capital loan that is not based on your personal credit report. So it's no credit check. There's no effect on your credit score. You can get approved in minutes. So you can either go to square.com or you can go to PayPalWorkingCapital.com and see what you qualify for. But this is only for businesses that accept PayPal and Square as a form of payment. So you can see here with PayPal, you can qualify for 35% of your annual PayPal sales. Okay, and no more than $200,000 for your first loan. I've done these a couple of times. Really like them, like the payback terms. So if you are in business and you accept that as your form of payment, know that you can use that as a working capital loan, and that's not tied to your social. So that concludes our information for today. So just wanted to summarize what we discussed, right? So we talked about the coronavirus. We talked about how this is different from 9/11 and how this is different from the housing market crash back in 2008. We talked about the impact to businesses and impact to people all over the world. And we talked about how during these difficult times, businesses are either being closed down or they're being severely impacted. And we talked about the things that we need to have in place for situations like this, right? You want to make sure that your business has insurance. You want to make sure that you have access to capital in the event that you're no longer able to get the sales like you used to. Talked about having additional revenue streams so that even if your bread and butter is no longer generating income, you come up with other ways to be creative and still be able to to function. So we talked about the 5 different ways that you can get funding during this time, right? We talked about the SBA disaster loan, what the qualifications are and how you can apply for that. That loan product, you have to go directly to the SBA website, and they will work with you on that. If you are interested in other types of SBA loan, like a 7A loan, you can contact my company. My team can help you prepare for that. Remember, the loans are up to $350,000. If it's under $25,000, there's no collateral. If it's over that, there may be some sort of collateral attached. So if you are an established entrepreneur, been in business for 2 years or more, looking for an SBA loan, you can do that as well. We also talked about grants, right? So Facebook has announced a grant, $100 million grant. They're offering this to 30,000 businesses that are eligible worldwide. They haven't released the information yet, but that will be coming out soon. So if your business is impacted, you can apply for a Facebook loan. We also talked about the Amber grant. You could qualify for up to $4,000 that they give out each month. And at the end of the year, they give away $25,000. So that's another way to get capital during this time. And then we talked about business funding. Specifically, we talked about business credit, and we talked about how to build it within your corporation or how to use it with your social security number. So let me give you an example of that. When I first started a business a few years ago, I got $40,000 in business credit my first time around. Brand new business, hadn't been around long, maybe a month or two, and I was able to qualify for that because I met the qualifications. So, sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, you have to be in business 2 years, or you have to, give tax returns, and you have to give statements, and you have to sign your life away. There are lenders out here that are non-traditional lenders, not your typical banks, that specialize in helping startup entrepreneurs. And as long as you meet their qualifications, you can get access to capital within 2 weeks. So that's the way to do it if you have a 700 credit score or higher and you have a strong credit profile. If you're an established entrepreneur, you may be interested in a checkbook business line of credit, and we can help you with that as well. So basically, you have other options too, like a personal loan that you can use towards your business. And then if you accept payments through PayPal or Square, you can qualify for working capital loans that's not tied to your personal credit score. So those were the 5 ways that you can get funding during this coronavirus. If you have any questions or comments, please put it in the chat box. Please share this with other entrepreneurs who may need funding during this time. But again, I'm LaToya Jackson with Excel Capital Group. We help people get business credit and funding. So if you're looking to start your business, grow and scale your business, and you need funding, make sure you reach out to us. You could qualify for up to $250,000 within 15 days. You can give us a call at 312-668-8788. Or you can go to fundingwithexcel.com and schedule a free consultation, and we can talk about all of your funding options and what you qualify for. If you are looking for funding tips, make sure you follow us on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We're always giving out funding tips and advice. I will be on Facebook Live every Friday at 12 noon. So if there's a topic that you want me to discuss, send me a message and let me know. But also want to let you know that I will be teaching a course called Building Business Credit, How to Get 6 Figures in 6 Months. That's going to be launching soon. If you want more information on that when it launches, be sure to add your email to my email list. You can go on the bit.ly link and go to excelbusinessclass.com. So did we have any questions or comments or any feedback from today's session? No? Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you all for joining me. And if you have any questions or concerns, or you're looking for funding for your company, make sure you reach out to us. You can go to fundingwithexcel.com and make sure you follow us online. I'll go ahead and end this, and we are back. All right. If there are no other questions or concerns, I appreciate you all for joining. And I will be here again next Friday at 12 noon. And I ask that you guys share this information with others. And thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys have a great day.